All right, good morning. It is March 22nd, and I'm just doing my morning devotion in Mark chapter 7. It says, "Now when the Pharisees gathered to him with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, they saw that some of his disciples ate with hands that were defiled, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands properly, holding tradition of the elders, and when they come from the marketplace they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other traditions they observe, such as the washing of cups, pots and copper vessels, and dining couches. And the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, 'Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands?' And he said to them, 'Well did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain they do worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. You leave the commandment of God and hold fast to the tradition of men.' And he said to them, 'You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to establish your tradition. For Moses said, Honor your father and mother, and whoever reviles his mother or father must surely die. But you say, if a man tells his father or mother, Whatever you would have gained from me is Corban, that is given to God, then you no longer permit him to do anything for his father or mother, thus making void the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down, and any such things you do.' And he called the people to him, and he said to them, 'Hear me, all of you, and understand. There is nothing outside of a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile.' And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable. And he said to them, 'Then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from the outside cannot defile him, since it enters not his heart but his stomach, and then is expelled? Thus he declared all foods clean.' He said, 'What comes out of a person is what defiles him. For what comes from within, out of the heart of man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceitfulness, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All evil things come from within, and they defile a person.' And from there he arose and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon, and he entered a house and did not want anyone to know. And yet he could not be hidden. But immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came and fell down at his feet. And now the woman was a Gentile, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, 'Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs.' But she answered, 'Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. And he said to her, 'For this statement you may go. The demon has left your daughter.' And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. Then he returned to the region of Tyre and Sidon and the Sea of Galilee in the region of Decapolis. And they brought to him a man who was deaf and had a speech impediment, and they begged him to lay his hand on him. And taking him aside from the crowd privately, he put his fingers to his ears, and spitting, he touched his tongue. And he looked up to heaven, and he sighed, and he said to him, 'Ephphatha,' that is, be opened. And his ears were opened, and his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. And Jesus charged them to tell no one. And the more they charged, the more zealously they proclaimed it. And they were astonished beyond measure, saying, 'He has done all things well. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak.'" Just a really great chapter here, starting off with, the offense over the followers of Jesus were not washing their hands the way that the rest of the Jews did. And this they saw as a defilement. And Jesus goes into this thing, how they've traded the commandments of God for the traditions of men. And it's just he's so wise in how he handles confrontations and stuff like that. But God had intended for children to take care of their parents and to honor their parents, and then they came up with a system that they would give to God, which sounds so great and spiritual. But Jesus is saying, hey, look, you're nullifying what the Word of God actually says to set up your own tradition, and that's wrong. And then what goes into a man does not defile him. It's what comes out of a man. And just wanting to be purified, having and just knowing my own heart before God, needing purification, and out of the heart come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, murder, theft, adultery, coveting, wickedness, pride, foolishness, all these things. And it's like, those come from within, and they need to be purged out. And I think it's awesome here, this woman's passing of the test, where Jesus is not gonna, he's resisting showing her compassion when she approaches him, and kind of calls her a dog and says, why would I take what is meant for the children of Israel, and throw it to the dogs, the Gentiles? And she says, yes, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the children's table. And he says, for this statement. And the demon left her daughter, and then Jesus opens a deaf man's ears and looses his tongue. And I just think that's very powerful. He gives this man ears that hear and a mouth to speak. And I hope that we have ears that hear, and eyes that see, and mouths that speak good things. Have a good day.